Little green scarf flew across the room without me realizing. Hello. Firstly, sorry that this is a little long. I posted this before, but it was removed for not enough detail, so I wanted to rewrite it and make sure it's as clear as possible. This event is still something I think about because I could never make sense of how it happened. This happened when I was in high school. I used to call my best friend almost every day after school. Her birthday was coming up, and I'm really into arts and crafts, so I wanted to make her something handmade. The furniture in my room consisted of a large metal rack, 2 dressers, a small TV with a stand, my bed, and a small foldable table for my laptop. The small table wasn't big enough to do any of my art stuff, so I would go to the living room, or most of the time I just do it on the floor in my room, or any hard surface I could use. My best friend was a big fan of the anime Fairy Tail, and her 2 favorite characters were Natsu, main protagonist, and Happy, little blue cat who wears a green scarf. I was a pretty big stuffed animal collector, and I had started learning how to make them myself. I thought I'd make her a handmade plushie of her favorite characters, so I decided on Natsu wearing a Happy onesie, kind of like a combo of both characters. At this point, I was at the foot of my bed sewing on the floor while on the phone. I had just finished the little green scarf that the character Happy wears, but I didn't attach it yet because this is where I decided to take a break. I set everything down, the plushie, needles, fabrics, threads, and the green scarf on the floor so I could get back to it later. I went to go lay in bed and continued chatting away with my friend. So like I said, I had a sizable collection of stuffed animals, and they were all organized on this big metal rack I had in the corner of my room. The rack itself was nearly my height, with 4 shelves where my stuffed animals were all organized. I had this one particular baby monkey stuffed animal I had as a toddler, and it was one of the oldest ones I owned. As I was lying in bed, still on the phone, I glanced at the corner of my room to where the baby monkey was on the top shelf. It had what looked to be the exact little green scarf I had a moment ago, but it was on top of its head covering one eye. I got up almost immediately and looked down to the floor at the foot of my bed where I was sitting. The needles, fabrics, and threads were still there along with the plushie I was making, but the green scarf wasn't there with everything else. If I had accidentally moved it when I got up from the floor, there was no way it could make it that far and that high up. This was a large rack. If I'm including the plushies all sitting at the top of it, then this thing was like a foot taller than me. I always kept my door closed whenever I called my friend, and the windows were never open because they were blocked by the 2 dressers in my room. I had scraps of fabric on the floor that were more lightweight than that scarf, so there's no reason the scarf could just fly away. It already had some structure to it since I had been working on it. Random items and objects end up in strange places all the time. I normally think I must have misplaced it or moved it by accident. This still baffles me because I can't think of any explanations to how the scarf could have ended up from being on the floor to one of the highest spots in my room. What's even more confusing is the positioning of it on top of an old stuffed animal that had nothing to do with what I was doing.